lined up the top stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
What's going on, guys? What's up? What's up, movie world? Hollywood land? October people? What's going on, spooky season? What's all the haps? What's all the doings? We're here. It's time for some drive-in Speakerbox. As always, I'm your host, the boom operator.
I'm the grip.
And I've got my face hugger hat on. I'm just going to go ahead and take this off. I'm afraid I'm going to break something or get impregnated with alien spawn. Yeah, if you're listening to the MP3, the podcast, the whatever you want to call it, if you got your real player going and somehow and you went back in time,
QuickTime
1994, you can tune into the live stream. We're broadcasting live. We got a video feed. You can see us. You can chat with us over at our Facebook Live. It's facebook.com/The Drive-In Speakerbox or YouTube. We're on YouTube Live, and the chat aggregates so everybody can talk to each other over at youtube.com/The Drive-In Speakerbox. Or you can use the fun URL that we still have, doodoopp.pizza. You can check us out, and we hope that you're downloading this podcast and listening to it wherever you get your podcasts. We thank you for tuning in. Spread the love. But we are going to be talking about movies. We've got, if you're...
Fancy that.
I know, that's what we do. And this week, we both went and saw the same film. We haven't talked about it between each other yet, but this week we both saw the new Addams Family film. We're going to be talking about that later in the program. And program, who says program anymore? Does that make me feel old?
You did.
When I say program, later in the program, we're going to be, it's like the 1950s. We're like, all right, later on tonight's program, we're going to be showing you a really hot and jazzy band. The kids love it. Let's bring to the stage I don't know.
Did you just become Carson?
Maybe. All right, you need to come in there and give me a little Ed McMahon there in the back up there.
I can't do Ed McMahon.
You just
Yes.
There you go.
Like
you did
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great McMahon there, Griff.
Just laugh hysterically all the time.
Gonna do the whole show in Carson voice. There we go. All right, here we go. No, anyway, we're going to be talking about movies, but before we get into reviewing those movies, we got to do our normal stuff. We're going to talk to you about what happened in the week of films. We're going to tell you what's coming up this weekend. We're going to do all that stuff here in the next hour and some change. So, Burkle Urp, tell your friends, Irma Gerd, Gerspurps. Speaking of Gerspurps, did you guys check out the new episode? It's free online. You can YouTube on it. If you're not YouTubing us, which you should be, but after this, you could tune into the new episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark?
What?
Yeah. So instead of doing...
For real?
Yes, for real. We submit this story to the Midnight Society, the tale of the first episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? And it was actually... Okay, I'm going to give you a little mini review of this. It was actually pretty good.
Was it a YouTube Red show?
It was like Nickelodeon plus YouTube. So if you... I'm not quite sure how the rest of the delivery service is going to go, but I did check out the first episode. It's an hour long. 45 minutes if you are doing a little bit of, adding for commercials. But it's interesting because this is the first time in Goosebumps history that they are giving...
Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Are You Afraid of the Dark's history that they're giving backstories and character development to the kids that are the Midnight Society. Because in the show, it was just like, there's the nerdy kid with the glasses, there's the ethnic diversity, there's the fat one, there's that's, that's how the producers sat around and go, how do we assemble these kids? Do we know any kids in a wheelchair? Get them in there. And, that's how kids...
90s TV shows work.
Yeah, it's exactly how 90s. Oh, man, let's put the wheelchair kid in the basketball. Let's make him play basketball. That's fun. Yeah, give him some pumps. Yeah, it's the 90s. So they have kind of done a similar thing, but instead of just making them placeholders for teenage, group collectives that everybody's represented, they actually fleshed out these characters. In the first episode is this new girl who comes to town. She moves to a new town. She's going to a new high school, and one of the Midnight Society members, who is also in the first It film. He was played the chubby kid in the first It film. He kind of spots her in school and notices, she's not overly goth or anything, but he notices that she got some like skull earrings, and she's sketching kind of like, darky stuff on her, like skeletons and bones on her notebook during class. And so the Midnight Society starts leaving these like cryptic messages in her locker and having her like answer these questions, and she has to, and it's like, then they induct her into the Midnight Society and she has to tell a story.
It's like halfway Hocus Pocus, halfway Monster Squad, like how they get
absolutely. And it was kind of cool because and they guide this girl out into the woods and kind of induct her in, and they're all wearing masks, and it's real creepy
at all.
Super creepy. And they're like, all right, well, you've got 48 or 24 hours to come up with a scary story and then return to this spot and then present it to the Midnight Society, and if we don't like it, you'll never hear from us again. And
except now you know where we are and when we meet, and you can find us at any time.
Basically. And so she does, and she tells a spooky story, and they're all into it, and she gets inducted to the Midnight Society, and then they dump the water on the fire, and it goes doo-doo-doo-doo, and it was kind of cool, man. It was a good update to, it was cheesy, it wasn't like a super scary thing. It was about an evil carnival. It was Carnival of Doom. And it was fun. It was fun.
Were they looking at boobies through their treehouse window like in Monster Squad?
No, I wish. And no monsters got kicked in the nards, unfortunately.
Wolfman's got nards.
Wolfman's got nards, dude. And don't they like send him with dynamite out the window and then he explodes?
Yeah, the dad does.
Oh yeah, that's right. And then Wolfman like comes back together because it wasn't a silver bullet. Anyway, first episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? I thought it was okay, so
I might have to watch that.
Yeah, very cool.
Because even though I don't like creepy things, I did grow up watching Are You Afraid of the Dark quite a bit.
I think you can handle it. I think you can.
You know what? Are You Afraid of the Dark taught you valuable lessons that you can use in everyday life.
Yeah, it taught me that Gilbert Godfrey makes a really spooky radio host for the dead.
Well,
and then
I learned that if you try to remember something, just quit thinking about it for a minute, and that's how you'll remember it. And it almost always works.
It taught me about the monkey's paw, that sometimes what you wish for isn't always what you want. Ooh, that was a really good one, because that's
not
based off
like a metal ball
right,
covered in string.
They based a lot of these things off of classic folklore and spooky stories. The monkey's paw, for example, is a very old spooky story. But Are You Afraid of the Dark? I think better than Goosebumps. I was always team Are You Afraid of the Dark.
Pinball Mall episode.
That was great.
Oh, that was a good one.
Really
there was a lot of mall episodes in.
It was the 90s.
The 90s, and so malls were pretty popular. And yeah, early like 90s Nickelodeon was kind of bizarre, man. Like I was watching a timeline video on YouTube where it was just going through Nickelodeon from its inception to where it is now and all the shows, and like the 90s era was they were taking some chances.
Ren and Stimpy, Rocco.
Dude, all of those Nicktoons of the 90s, and then You Can't Do That on Television and all that with the all that sort of.
Oh, Salute Your Shorts.
Salute Your Shorts.
Hey Dude.
Yeah, very strange stuff that they were doing back then.
Double Dare.
Do-do-do. Do-do-do. Bow. And that was Double Dare. Mark Summers, the worst host for that show, but the most perfect show. Because he was a hypochondriac. It's like, excuse me, Mr. Hypochondriac, sir, would you like to host the show where it's like doo-doo, boogers, ear goo, and fart pee the whole time? And he's like, go. And you have to be around dirty worm children. He's like, go. Do I have to touch him?
He moved to Food Network and hosted a really good show.
You ever notice that the set is devoid of all human life? That Mark Summers, it's just like lock it down, no other humans, everything's plastic and super clean.
It's like Howie Mandel.
Yeah, no, he's a super hypochondriac too. Famous people, man, they're weird. Anyway, OCD's a real thing, man. Speaking of, Legend of the Hidden Temple over there. Nick Arcade got some coming in the comment section there.
What was the show that was like Legends of the Hidden Temple but better? Guts.
You mean like Legends of the Hidden Temple, but not as good?
But better?
No, Guts
But
wasn't even as good as
better?
Finders Keepers, dude.
Wrong. It was hosted by another Mark. What was his name?
Who cares? Because it was Guts. Who wanted a piece of the aggro crag? Not me.
Yeah, dude. Aggro Crag was sick.
It was American Gladiators.
The first aggro crag.
It's American Gladiators for kids, and I'd just rather watch American Gladiators. In the Thunderdome with turbo and laser. Heck yeah, dude. In the Atmosphere. Yeah, that's what it was. But anyway, all right.
The Burt Reynolds Mark Summers interview on Carson. No, so Burt Reynolds is straight up mean AF.
Oh, he's
to Mark Summers.
Biggest jerk on the planet. That's why ladies like him. He's the man, Burt Reynolds. Anyway, speaking of the men, we lost one. We lost one of the dudes of Hollywood. The stoic. If somebody was making a movie and you go, you know what? We need a no bullshit, hard-nosed, cop-like dude that might actually have like a heart of gold under there and protect the innocent person or the children of the women. Who we gonna have? Call Robert Forster. We need that guy. Somebody that you don't trust at first because they look like they're gonna be a big old butthole, but they uphold the law all the time, or they uphold their values while breaking the law all the time. And Robert Forster got really famous after his performance in Jackie Brown, but most recently, I think the last role that he had was in the El Camino Breaking Bad movie that just came out. And a lot of people also know him from the recent resurrection of the Twin Peaks show. But this dude was in everything. He was one of those guys, like we talk about from time to time, that never really took a lead role and never really ascended to superstar celebritydom, but he has been working in Hollywood since the 60s and just doing schlocky horror movies, lots of TV, lots of cop dramas. Robert Forster was just all over the place and then really broke it big in the mid-90s. And then again, just kind of went back into these bit parts because that's what he did. He was a good supporting role, and supporting roles are just as important, if not more so, than these big celebrity roles. I think that they flesh out these stories in a more realistic way than some of these big celebrities do now, like the whole Scorsese debacle debate that's going on right now. I side with him a lot on this. A lot of viewers are thinking that every movie needs to follow this Marvel format, but it's bad for film, and it's bad for theatrical film.
It's bad.
It's just bad because if you notice, these movies don't have supporting casts. They have like 5 megastars, and the rest is CG. And it's not that they're not telling stories. They're selling popcorn and toys, and they're I know Scorsese's ruffling a lot of feathers right now, kind of throwing the MCU under the bus, but somebody's got to say it that they'll listen to, because no one's been listening to us. So we've been preaching this gospel for a while. But it's because of people like Robert Forster. In today's MCU world, we wouldn't have Robert Forsters. We'd only have Robert Downey Jr.'s, which I don't know if you've seen the new trailer.
I did.
You know what I'm about to say?
Yup.
Well, then say it.
Dolittle.
There it is.
Don't like it.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I care for it all that much
because
either.
it takes elements of both generations of Dr. Dolittle from the old, when was it made? 60s?
Yeah, it was
early 60s, mid.
Might have been
the old Disney 60s. Dr. Dolittle, where it was about the guy in his Irish home and he could talk to animals because he learned how to do it. And then it takes one from the Eddie Murphy where all of the animals talk and move and act.
Yeah, CGI animals doing people things.
So
my favorite.
So I guess it's kind of like one of those things where you see it through his perspective, where the animals are talking and moving around as if people, but all the other characters are going to pretend like they can't recognize that. And I think that takes a lot away from how the original Dr. Dolittle did it and how the Eddie Murphy version did. Because the Eddie Murphy version, they would talk, but they were still acting as if animals, you know. But in this one, it's trying to give them all. I don't know. It just didn't. None of it seemed plausible or enjoyable.
Well, at least he's not doing.
presented.
At least he's not doing his standard default Downey Jr. shtick that he's been doing for the past 10 years, where it's like quick talking, wisecracking Sherlock Holmes / Iron Man.
He seemed kind of like a little subdued version of Sherlock.
He's almost the straight man in this film, which
it's like an action movie too, because he's attacked by pirates and locked in prison, and they try to feed him to a tiger.
The trailer reminded me a lot of what was the give me a second, brain. Was it Jack Black that did the Gulliver's Travels movie? That's what it looks like. It looks like that movie with Jack Black. If you remember that, my brain has actively fought remembering most of Jack Black's career after Tenacious D. Don't make that face.
Shallow Hal was decent when it came out.
Continue.
Saving Silverman's a pretty good movie. You probably like Be Kind, Rewind.
No, I did like Be Kind, Rewind.
See?
What do you mean? Oh, you probably like it because it's art butthole stuff of Michel Gondry.
Yeah,
yes.
It was boring AF.
No!
Yo!
Be Kind, Rewind was... I will say it's one of Michel Gondry's weaker films, but it was still pretty good. Mos Def was in that movie. Mos Def. Hey,
so he's in like Chappelle Show episodes.
He was also in Fifth Element. He was when the monster alien was smuggling the weapons and they had the human head. It was Mos Def. Anyway, shout outs to old Chef Stephen Brooks, fellow podcaster over there, the Soul Men of the High South, tuning in over on our Facebook Live.
Oh, cool.
What's going on, Chef Brooks? You can check out us on episodes of Later with Jason Sewell, the other show that I co-host on Saturday nights on KNWA Fox 24 right here locally. You can look for Later with Jason Sewell on your YouTube. It's very local centric, so if you're out of town, one of our out of town listeners might not be the most entertaining for you, but it's a great show. And
yeah, but y'all have like skits and things like that every now and then, huh?
It's a lot of fun. And you get to see my pretty face all the time.
And Sewell is Suel, is that right?
Yeah, Suel.
There you go.
Yeah.
YouTube it.
Why am I always paired up with tall people? Like, look at this. Like, you're over here at 6 foot billion, and I'm always like the short guy. But I'm the funny one, right? Don't make that look. Funny looking, right, babe? Anyway, so Robert Forster, we miss you. What else in the news? There wasn't a whole lot of stuff that I wanted to mention, except for, did you guys see, we talked about this a couple weeks back when they did the teaser trailer to Pixar's new film, Onward. We're like, it didn't really tell us much. It kind of looked like, Dungeons and Dragons Z-World, which is really popular right now. It didn't tell us a whole lot. Have you seen the new trailer?
I did.
I thought it kind of looked neat. It was like Weekend at Bernie's meets Warcraft at Bernie's.
Yeah, but the thing that I thought the entire time watching the trailer is that Pixar animation style is getting really played out.
No, I agree. I 100% agree.
It doesn't seem to fit the story they're trying to tell because it takes you out of connectivity with the characters
swords and sorcery.
Yeah, because it makes them way too cartoony, which takes away any kind of.
But Pixar has that style, man.
Yeah,
they wanna know.
But like, remember
it's Pixar.
Remember The Good Dinosaur? Exactly.
No, I don't. I mean, I do, but I don't.
Yeah, no one watched it.
No. Was that Pixar or was that Disney Animation?
I mean, what's the difference now?
Well, true life.
I mean, it was done by Pixar. But. I mean, it's one of those movies where who remembers it? Because it was too cartoony to the point where it loses any kind of.
It's kind of like Brother Bear. I think Brother Bear was like the death nail to hand-drawn animation for Disney, because everyone's like, "Oh, Princess and the Frog." No, that was the last Disney princess style hand-drawn animation. But Brother Bear, like, what was? Nobody remembers Brother Bear.
I do. But I'm not going to say I liked it, but I remember it.
I mean, I remember everything.
It was sad.
It was sad. It's about bears and brothers. Brother bears. Anyway, I thought it looked kind of neat. I mean, it was like they resurrect their dad's, like, crotch, and they go on an adventure to like get the rest of him. And so they're running around with this like crotch, and then they build a top half like Bernie, Weekend at Bernie's, and they go on this sword and sorcery adventure. I thought, after watching the longer trailer, I was like, okay, all right, I might give this one a go. But I thought that was kind of neat. In other stupid news, Disney, again, I know we're just always talking about Disney, but following in the footsteps of Matthew Broderick and French Stewart, I think Disney decided that they needed another live-action Inspector Gadget because why not?
There was a live-action after the Broderick one with French Stewart?
Yeah.
What?
I know.
Was this like a direct-to-video movie or something?
I think it was a direct to DVD, and that because remember when Disney was doing all that direct to DVD stuff, like they were just every day of the week
before the Marvel boom,
the minivan video boom, where it's the babysit movie boom, where you just had to have all those movies. French Stewart was a terrible Inspector Gadget.
You know what I had to have? All of the Mickey D's Inspector Gadget body part toys.
Did you turn him into something?
Yeah, Inspector Gadget. You built Inspector Gadget. Like you might get his left arm in one, and you'd get the torso front half, and then the torso back half, and you'd get like the legs and stuff. And he was a very awkward shaped, really weird, big headed, gigantic torsoed Inspector Gadget.
That sounds cool.
It was kind of cool.
Go Gadget, take your money.
It was better than the movie.
Well, that didn't take much because the movies were all terrible. Speaking of Inspector Gadget, I met the creator of Inspector Gadget. There's a picture, I think, on our Instagram that we don't post to all that often, of me and Andy Hayward, who created Inspector Gadget and was also one of the executive CEOs or FOs or Intel, whatever title they have at a Cartoon Network of Deke, which was responsible for a lot of really cool. I asked him if he
Deke Animation.
Yeah, Deke Animation.
DIC.
He was the big Deke over there.
I can just picture like whenever you watch something, it goes Deke, and like the little
His
child
little
voice
crayon that goes on Deke, and they did a Bill and Ted's cartoon, and I asked him about it, and he goes, "You remembered that?" And I go, yes. And
dude, early 90s, late 80s had all of the cool like movie properties. Is that it?
Yeah, that's me. That's me and Andy Hayward. Yeah, check it out, man. And the glasses thing, that's like his deal. We were like, "Oh, yeah, sir, someone can take those glasses." He's like, "Nah, this is kind of my thing." And it's not like wearing them on the top of your head, but like on his forehead, right above his eyeballs. It was weird, but a really, really cool dude. Amazing stuff. But you can follow us on Instagram at the Drive-In Speakerbox if you want to check out our adventures. There's pictures of us with celebrities and hobnobbing with people that are better than you.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, there's the grip.
Yeah, with old John Rhys Davies.
Yeah, man, that was a fun day. Anyway, Andy Hayward, Inspector Gadget. I don't know what's going on with the world, but they're making another one, and yikes.
For everyone out there, John Rhys Davies is super cool. He's a very fun guy to meet.
We talked about him being like a bouncer.
Yeah, he was real personable, and I had a couple of conversations with him because I went back to get an autograph from my brother after I had spoken with him for a while, and he was super cool. Talked to me about all sorts of things.
Word. All right. Well, let's shift gears here and talk about what's coming out in theaters this weekend, because movies don't stop, man. They come out every single week, and we are going to tell you there's two big ones that are coming out this week. And of course, one of them's Disney, because we couldn't have a new movie in the theaters if it wasn't stupid Buena Vista every single freaking movie. Maleficent sequel is coming out in theaters to it's Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. It's kind of, it's neat to see how, like, producer over there, I'm glad your mic was off. But, Disney's kind of, and a lot of places are going in with the macabre and the dark. As I remember when I was a kid and I went to Disney World, and I always wanted a figurine or something that was of the Satan from Fantasia, when they were doing the Mountain King.
Yeah,
and he's like, dun, dun, bum, 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 bum. I'm the devil, and look at these skeletons riding horses. And dude, I was just like, certainly.
Did you make your own lyrics to sing to it when you watch Fantasia?
Sometimes. Don't judge me. But I went there and I was like, hey, I see all these Mickey Mouse craps and Hercules and all this other like crap. Where's the Satan figurines from Fantasia? And they're like,
I always wanted one too. I wanted like the mountain. You could like fold his wings up and like there he is, kind of a thing.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
And they didn't have anything like that. The closest I found was like a $500 wristwatch that had him on it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm a kid. What am I gonna do with a $500 wristwatch?
Yeah. Why'd you make the Devil Volcano Mountain Man so cool if you didn't want us to want things with it?
Exactly. And so
forget your stupid brooms. I want the Devil Mountain.
Yeah. I mean, look at that. That's like gargoyles. Like Disney had they were sitting on gargoyles, and they had characters like this, and they didn't think that there was cool kids out there like me that were willing to like fork over not quite $500, but our hard-earned allowances. That's Maleficent and like the devil just like about to get freaky-leaky. Yeah. I hope you're not like Googling Satan Fantasia hentai, because we don't need that yet. But anyway.
Why would you even say anything?
Somebody's going to. But
now,
where I'm going with this is it's interesting to see how like we're starting to adopt this darker side of like it's cool to like goth style and is kind of in horror and edginess. I mean, we're about to talk about the Addams Family, which is like all in on Wednesday Addams being like this kind of like, goth is cool. And
yeah, but Addams Family's classic. I grew up with it.
Classic, but it's okay for kids to like it now, and it's it's not just the happy-go-lucky stuff. And so Maleficent, they made a bunch of money, and I think it was on the springboard of the success of the Broadway hit Wicked. And they're like, how do we do our own Wicked? And we have the Wicked Witch. Like, let's do a story about her. And so Maleficent came along and knocked it out of the park, made all the monies, and so they're doing a sequel. So bringing Angelina Jolie back to reprise her role. Ellie Fanning is back in there. Michelle Pfeiffer now joining the circus. And
who was it that played the evil witch in Snow White and the Huntsman? And they made the sequel to that one.
Nobody remembers the sequel to that one.
Yeah, because it brought in like Emily Blunt as a frozen character where she had like ice powers.
Was it Kristen Stewart Snow White in that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then she wasn't in the second one. It was a prequel.
And do you know why she wasn't in the second one? This is actually really funny.
Because the huntsman was the cool part?
No. You guys want a little bit of Hollywood extra.
Because she has attitude, no one wants to cast her?
Because she was fucking the director of the original one, and then that fell through, and when the sequel got in, they had split up because there was marriage problems because the director was married, and there was some hanky-panky going on behind the scenes in the trailer, and and so it was like,
they did not put that in the movie trailer.
They didn't put it in the movie trailer. They put it in the trailer on the movie set. But so they were kind of like, well, we got to get rid of Kristen Stewart because I'm not trying to lose my marriage and my family. And so Kristen Stewart kind of got out of the next movie. But anyway, shout outs to Chef Chris who just tuned in. We got all the chefs tuning in tonight, finally figuring out how YouTube works. Welcome to the show. Anyway, so Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, coming out in theaters this week. You can check it out. And also another sequel coming out this week. And they're both kind of spooky movies. One's about witches and one's about zombies. And so we've got Zombieland Double Tap, which is it's number 2. So, Double Tap. I guess, is that like a joke about video games? Like, where's Double Tap? Is that a thing that first-person shooters say? Like,
well, it's like from actual shooting, like
pap, pap.
yeah, head, chest, head.
Okay. Just
Double
making
tap
sure.
to make sure enemy's down.
I mean,
Didn't you watch John Wick?
I played a lot of platformers, so when I hear double tap, that's like a double jump. You double tap the A and then, or just double tap that A. You know what I'm saying? How? Double tap an A.
No, dude, it's what John Wick did to every bad guy in the movie.
Plow, plow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he would, like, all the guys he would shoot once, he'd go back and hit them again.
Make sure.
Yeah, every single enemy.
One to grow on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Zombieland, of course, this 2019 sequel to the 2009 movie, this Zombieland. So it's 10 years later. Abigail Breslin, or whatever her name is a lot older. Isn't that her name?
Yeah.
And then Jesse Eisenberg looks exactly the same, as does Woody Harrelson and Emma Stone.
Apparently, it's like an in-joke from the first movie,
Right.
which I haven't watched since 2009.
Yeah, I haven't seen it since 2009 either. I might need to go back and watch it because I do remember it being pretty fun.
They're on a quest for Twinkies for Woody Harrelson's character, and Jesse Eisenberg is like awkwardly trying to holler at Emma Stone the whole time, and then they kill Bill Murray.
Oh yeah,
And then at the
I forgot
end,
Bill Murray was in it.
They come across the theme park, and they finally find Woody Harrelson a Twinkie.
Yeah, they get trapped on a
even
Ferris wheel for a minute.
If you pay attention when they're in the supermarket, there's several boxes of Twinkie on the shelves, and they look right past them.
Ooh, mistakes were made.
Prop department screwed up on that one.
Shouldn't have put. Maybe they were zingers. Maybe they weren't Twinkies. Because if I'm on a quest for Twinkies, if you give me a frickin' zinger, we're gonna throw hands, because zingers are gross, especially ones that have that like.
Twinkies are gross.
Bro, you ever had a deep fried Twinkie in your life?
Dude,
In your
there's
mouth.
nothing good about sponge cake and whatever the filling is.
Delicious cream filling.
No.
You are wrong. We need a Twinkie. Can we get a Twinkie up in here? Does anybody got a Twinkie up in here? But not a zinger. You probably like zingers. You're a zingers man, aren't you?
I don't like icing.
You probably get the really bad zinger. It's like the pink one that has the coconut, like the pink coconut on the top.
I don't like coconut.
What do you like? What if they
I
had
was
a
trying to think of
What if
something
they had
like-
a pizza zinger or Twinkie? It's like
those
a
are called
calzone.
it's called a combo.
Yeah, but that's pretzel crust. We need like a savory sponge Twinkie with like a ricotta and pepperoni,
So like a
cream filling.
a
I'm talking.
halfway-
There's chefs in the audience right now.
A halfway cooked pizza roll.
No. Because you need the cream filling like a Twinkie, but so you need like mascarpone or cream cheese or ricotta cheese, something light and fluffy, and then you get some tiny like cube pepperoni to like stick in the center, and then that sponge cake needs to be like a savory oregano basil, and then you just bite in. It's like boom.
Johnny has it right with the cosmic brownie, but you got to do the walnut. The walnut brownie's the better one. For sure.
Yeah, cosmic brownie, get out of here with that.
The
Cosmic Senses are
M&Ms in
fun.
it are just too much.
But tell them about the Twinkies. Johnny Dalton over there on YouTube. That's a Ghostbusters quote. Tell them about the Twinkie.
Oh yeah.
So ooh, zingers. I like how it's like gross food, and it goes zingers, and it's like the KFC Double Down.
You loved the double down.
I
Also,
do love
those
the
have
double down.
buns, so those aren't the double down.
Those are even more reckless than a Double Down, because that's more calories. Put a bun on that thing, that's even worse. That's why I try to tell people, like, oh my God, the bread is the meat. And I'm like, yeah, but it'd be normal if you put a bun on it, and it'd be even worse for you. And it'd just be a double. Fried Twinkies. All right, you're missing the live stream here. Our producer here is just putting up all of these images on screen of just delicious fried Twinkies. Oh my good God, it's like pornography over on our Facebook and YouTube
wow, you got to
Live.
calm down.
Ooh, golly.
Going to a fair or any kind of festival with the old boom operator here
Is the best time you'll ever have.
That's all he does.
It's
He
just-
hunts out all of the
It's just a big like
freaky fried sweets everywhere.
diabetic wonderland. Like, you know the song, the you know, that's always like when you're tiptoeing through like the Ren and Stimpy always did it. And it's like you're in a magical wonderland. Like that's me and fair food. I'm like, yeah. And anyway, we're not speaking of movies. I went and saw Addams Family today, and at the concession stand, I got the fried mac and cheese bites. Totally good, super good. Speaking of dumb, tacky foods that I like. If you can't tell from my svelte physique here, I love fried mac and cheese bites. But Zombieland Double Tap, the sequel to 2009 Zombieland, and Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, sequel to Maleficent, coming out in theaters this week.
See whatever that movie is.
And make sure. Oh, also. We've got a couple other ones before we, like Grip's over here going, scroll down to the Bollywood one. I want to see the Bollywood one. We've got three limited release like indie films that are coming out. First one, of course, you probably have seen the trailer to Jojo Rabbit from director Taika Waititi. It will probably get a larger release if it doesn't ruffle enough feathers. Taika Waititi, of course, everybody became a household name after he directed the Thor as Guardians of the Galaxy is, I believe, what I dubbed it, Thor Ragnarok. But it's a young boy in Hitler's army finding out that his mother is hiding a Jewish girl in their home. It's kind of like a weird dark comedy based around World War II. That's coming out this weekend in limited release. Also, The Lighthouse, which we've been talking about for a while. Robert Eggers. This is, Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. It's black and white, very atmospheric. I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen a Robert Eggers film, but he is a bit of an acquired taste for a lot of people. He made a pretty big name for himself with The Witch, spelled with the double V's. Incredibly atmospheric, attention to detail, methodical, and slow. It's a slow movie. In this movie, The Lighthouse looks as if it was shot in the 30s and 40s. Like the style, the lighting, the camera techniques. I'm really actually super excited to see this movie, and I hope that we get it here. So if you haven't seen the trailer to The Lighthouse, I highly suggest you check it out because it is definitely not your MCU popcorn movie.
No, but it does have Batman and Green Goblin and the trainer of Aquaman.
So has Rob Pat actually been Batman yet, or is this just
he
all
hasn't
the talk?
been Batman yet, but he was.
But he's going to be
cast as Batman.
Okay, just making sure because I keep hearing about it. And then, of course, coming only in Fathom Events, which is kind of interesting that Kevin Smith is doing this.
I think it's as an early release type thing. It'll come out later.
As a theatrical release.
But also, I recently watched an interview with Kevin Smith about his new movie, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. The 15th and the 17th is when it's being shown as the Fathom event. Both dates have something different about them. And I can't remember exactly what he said it was, but like one of them has like special. I think the 17th is a double feature with one of his other movies, like Jay and Silent Bob, and then Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, or it's like
Mallrats would be cool.
Yeah,
it's like Jay and Silent Bob are really integral parts of Mallrats without.
They're a big part of all of them.
They are, but I really like that plan that they come up with to try and get the dude off the stage and they swing in like Batman.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty funny.
But yeah, I think the 17th is a double feature day, and the 15th is one that has like bonuses and things like that. But he also said following this, they're going on like a 22 city tour where Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith will be there doing Q&A and watching the film along with you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So,
and if you ever get a chance to go to anything, the first time I ever went to a screening that had the actor director kind of, do you guys remember American Movie? Anyone? American Movie? Check it out. It was kind of a cult classic back in the early 2000s.
Was it kind of like Kentucky Fried Movie?
No, it's a movie about these two guys, small town guys, trying to make a film, and they're trying to make an independent horror film. And it kind of became a cult classic for a while. And I happened to be in where was I? I was in Ann Arbor, or Minneapolis, outside of Minneapolis. And they were there at the university, Carleton University, I believe it was, and they were doing a screening and a Q&A, and I got to see they did a screening of the movie that they made in the movie, which I'd never seen before, which was like called Blood something or another. And
that's cool. They actually did film a movie.
Yeah, there it is, right there, 1999. If you've never seen this movie, it's
a tall guy and a short guy, dude. It's like me and you.
Yeah, it's a documentary about these two guys trying to make his dream project film, but the low budget horror film, which they actually finished, I got to see, but the documentary about it became like kind of a cult classic. Oh my God, if I just grew my hair out, that would be us.
Uncanny
Are you calling me fat? Oh man, damn it.
No, but I think that mustache and 80s hair is definitely like a good look. You should go with
Here, actually, I'm gonna will you put this on for just a second and see if put this flannel on and be that guy for the rest of the show. That's going to be our Halloween episode. We're just going to dress up like those guys.
No one would know.
But I met those guys and they're dickholes.
Wow.
They're really not pleasant people.
Didn't you watch Ghost, where you got to meet some of the cast and crew?
I did. I got to meet the director. Got to go out and have cocktails with him, actually, with one of my friends who's a DP out in L.A. He was in town because his wife owns a production company up here. And I got to meet him, and that dude, if you've not seen Ghost, again, not really a scary movie, but a movie about
old Casey Affleck, right?
Yep, Casey Affleck dies and stays inside this house watching
Real Beetlejuice.
It's sad. Like he watches his fiance just grieve and mourn his passing and then move away, and he's still trapped in this house until like the end of time, just as like the house gets demolished and he's just kind of still stuck because he's haunting that area. And it's a really amazing movie. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. But it's not like a scary movie. It just happens to deal with the supernatural, but it's not a horror movie in any stretch of the imagination. But Ghost. But yeah, Jay and Silent Bob, a reboot, going to be starting to hit that release this weekend, so you can bookmark that.
No. Tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow. That's right. Fathom Events.
Man,
I need to maybe see about that. I need to go watch Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back tonight, prep myself, and then get in there.
Do you really need to watch it?
I haven't seen it since it came out. That's the last time I saw that movie. It's been a long ass time since I saw that movie. I didn't actually like it that much.
Oh, really? It was like the one Kevin Smith movie that I liked the most.
More than Clerks and Mallrats?
Way more than Clerks.
I like the first Clerks. Clerks 2,
more,
not so
more
much.
than Mallrats, just because Mallrats.
Chasing Amy?
Yeah, way more. Chasing Amy is probably the worst one.
Yeah,
until Clerks 2 was a thing.
Yeah, Clerks 2 was pretty bad.
I didn't care for Dogma.
You didn't like Dogma?
I liked the No Ticket.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I like Buddy Jesus out of Dogma. Like, that was pretty good. Anyway, all right. Well, those are the movies that are coming out in theaters this week. And let's see. There's a film playing near us that the Grip looks interested in seeing, but I cannot pronounce this for the life of me. I'll let you try it.
Sierra Narasima Reddy.
It looks Narasima Reddy. Yeah.
I need to see that.
It's from director Surrender Reddy. It's a historical action epic inspired by the life of Narasimha Reddy, who revolted against the aristocracies of East India Company 10 years before the Sepoy Mutiny. So that sounds up your alley. It looks Bollywood.
History-based Bollywood movie?
Yeah, dude. There's some showings this week at the Pinnacle Hills Malco number 12, so you can check it out. So maybe he's going to go talk about that. So with that said, let's talk about movies that are coming out they're already out. They came out this last weekend. We're hitting our mark. It's 1 hour mark. We're 1 hour in the show, so we need to shift into review gear. We saw Addams Family, guys.
Yeah.
We saw it. We saw the Addams Family, and it's the animated CGI. Going into this movie, I felt nervous. Going into this movie, stylistically, I mean, CGI is not my favorite, but I was happy to see, and this is what we talked about last week a little bit on the show before we saw the movie, is I was excited to see these characters kind of come to life that are more accurate towards the original Charles Addams drawings than any version on screen of the Addams Families.
Except for the animated series.
They didn't look as accurate to Charles Addams drawings in the animated series as they did this. They kind of took some liberties, made them a little more fun, a little more or less weird. Like, Wednesday wasn't like, a rail, and, Lurch is a little more hulking. Gomez a little squattier. Pugsley is always
The odd man
the
out.
odd man out. And, one of the things about this film, the short one sentence, I kind of enjoyed it. I thought it was a little bit slow going, but once it found its rhythm, I thought that it ended up okay. But Pugsley got his time to shine. And like any other Addams on screen, Pugsley's just... I don't feel like anybody ever knew what to do with the character of Pugsley, because, of course, these are all based off these comics. And Pugsley always just took a back seat. He was the one crashing trains and blowing stuff up. And they're like, well, what do we do with this? And in this film, he really took a big part of the show.
Yeah, he got to be as primary of a character as the rest of the core family. They kind of cut out... Fester and Grandma quite a bit, though.
They did. Normally, Fester is a bit of a show stealer because he's just so odd, and he's kind of the default bumbling pratfall sort of source of jokes. Like, he's always the one that they lean on.
But
for
they
the
avoided
comedy
it
crutch.
by, in this movie, having him not be living in the house with him.
Mm-hmm. It was a reunion, and this movie takes place kind of early in the Addams family.
So that was one of the big problems I had with the movie.
Is that it was...
So I went in being a fan of 60s Addams Family, animated Addams Family, live action movies Addams Family. There's no need for an origin story. I didn't need their stupid, drawn out BS.
Why they moved to this house,
origin
and
story,
got run out of another town. But it was used as the plot device to establish the enemy of the movie, which was the lady that the house flipper TV show host.
Which was the other part that made it where it was difficult to enjoy, because it felt like they just took the other two movies and slapped them together into this one. Because
that's kind of exactly what they did.
There was nothing new. There was nothing unique to this version of an Addams Family movie.
Because Addams Family values, Fester starts kind of doing normal people stuff.
Dating the blonde lady.
Yeah, and in this one, Wednesday starts doing normal people stuff, and it really upsets Morticia instead of Gomez getting really upset about Fester doing normal people stuff.
And the town is trying to take the house away from them and all that stuff. And there was nothing new, nothing that was introduced to this that made it fun or unique or something that you would want to sit through. Mm-hmm. Every time they're on screen, it's the same thing, just completely different from the way the TV show's done. The TV show's light and fun, and they can tell stories about the family without the entire family being at dire risk of losing the house or Fester being changed, because in both movies it's about Fester being the one that's changed. And there was nothing here that I was like, oh, I like how they did that. Right. I feel like when you're taking something that was a very short, quippy comic, one frame, sometimes 4 at best, and then turning it into a show, and then turning it into a feature film, it's like when it becomes a film, like episodic, fun, contained little mini adventures, they always feel like they need to increase the stakes. Like when you remember like when TV shows would go the movie, it's like the blank blank the movie. Mm-hmm. So it's like, oh, it's got to be this big scenario that they have to overcome. Sure, but all Addams Family movies have had the same
story,
the same thing.
It could be the nature of the characters. I mean, like what you think about the Addams Family, and one of the complaints I had about this movie is they kept trying to inject so many just little macabre jokes like all the time. And it's like, I get it. They're creepy, they're kooky, they're mysterious and spooky. They're all together ooky, and we know, like, we don't need like spiders coming out of their nose all the time.
Sure. But I mean, I'm saying they could have done something like the way that the Munsters did their movies, where it's not like, oh, people are coming because they hate the Munsters. It's like, no, they have some zany adventure and it's fun, but it's not necessarily that they are at risk, which is always the case in an Addams Family movie.
Well, I mean, it seems like it's always going to be the kind of Crocodile Dundee style of fish out of water story. You know, that's the shtick with these people. It's their normal is everyone's abnormal, and putting them in the normal where it's the contrasting of the normals. You know.
Right, and that's fine, but does it always have to result in them being removed from their home or, you know?
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah. So, I mean,
But that's the harder, like, I don't know. It's like, where would you go? I mean,
somewhere else besides the last two movies.
What do you think? What would you do if it was your Addams Family? What would be the problem? What would be the thing that they had to solve? If you could see the Addams Family,
they didn't have to solve Thing. Thing was fine.
Thing
and he
was,
didn't have a funny little joke.
He didn't. He was just Thing.
Yeah, but he had an eye watch.
I know. I saw that. I thought that was pretty funny. You know, then Cousin It being played by Snoop Dogg, which was just Snoop Dogg sped up and backwards. So
yeah,
I didn't. And I was like, why?
I didn't like the way they did it. I liked when it pulled up, and I was like, oh, this has to be
there.
Cousin
It is.
Yeah. But then, Cousin. All right, so Cousin It has always been my favorite Addams Family member
because he's cool.
Yeah, he's nothing but hair and cool shades and a hat, man.
He's got swagger.
He's it. You know, he has it. He's the coolest.
But I like that he was actually tiny, like super tiny, because he's supposed to be super tiny in the comics. He's just a little nugget.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't think of anything that I'd love to see the Addams Family do, like a caper that they'd pull, or an adventure that they'd go on that didn't. How would you make that? How would you increase the stakes? Like it's like the Addams Family go to Europe. Like what happens there? What's the deal?
I'm saying even in this one, they had a story that was set up for conflict within the family that wasn't something that was going to necessarily tear them apart. They didn't need the addition of the overarching villain that really didn't play that big of a role in what the end portion of the movie was, except for...
Well, it gave Pugsley a reason to step up.
But they could have done that without her.
Just the townspeople? And they're like, we got to get him.
Yeah, but...
They need a Gaston, my man. They need a Gaston to lead them to the beast.
Like a super rad buff character that's the coolest dude in town who eats a lot of eggs and wrestles.
I mean, no one...
And sings really well?
Yeah. No one establishes violence like Gaston. Group mentality like Gaston. Lights a torch and kills things like evil Gaston. Let's rile up all the townspeople and kill the bad guys.
Listen, dude. The Beast was a
movie needs
butthole.
Gaston. What?
The Beast was a big-time butthole, and that's why he was cursed.
He was rich, though.
Yeah, because he was mean. He was mean, and he got cursed for it, and he stayed mean. And in fact, he got more mean because now he had beast muscles, claws, and wildebeest horns.
Yeah, he can't grab a soft, supple butt cheek with those big claws, and he's probably just like he's
not
just
the lesson to take.
He's blue beasted up in that castle for years, and he's just like I can't do anything.
Like X-Men had Blue Beast.
Yeah, and you know how angsty he got until he found another beastie that could handle his beast, and then that's gonna make anybody go crazy. That's right, man. It's what it's all about, dude. And Gaston was in there just like, crushing it all the time.
That's what I'm saying.
And
Gaston's
that's why he
the
was
man.
That's why he was happy.
Because he was the coolest dude.
Yeah. No one. All right. Yeah, okay. We could have just. But anyway, Addams. I kind of liked it. I could. Overall, did you enjoy it or not?
I didn't hate it.
Wow, I thought you would like. I thought you would have liked it a little more.
I would have if there wasn't a stupid origin story. If it wasn't the same movie I'd seen time and time again. If it was something that had anything unique or fun going for it.
I think that this one will open the door to the Addams Family to a new audience.
It ended up that I was okay with Charlize Theron being Morticia.
See, that was the
And-
weakest one for me.
Really? I
Yeah.
didn't like Nick Kroll being Fester.
Yeah, that was a little awkward.
And again,
to me.
Pugsley's the odd man out because he's the only one who didn't have like a fun voice. He was just like, oh, little blonde boy.
I think
Pugsley.
Chloe Moretz knocked it out of the park as Wednesday.
I liked her little noose braids.
The news
and-
brace, she did really well. And honestly, I thought Gomez was a lot better than I thought Gomez was going to be the weak link. The guy that played Poe Dameron in Star Wars. His name's drawing me a blank because I don't have
Yeah,
all
I
the
can't
notes in front of me.
remember it right now either.
But I was really upset going into it because I was like, yo, Angelica Houston was literally a voice in a trailer for another kid's movie as a character that I saw in the trailers going up to this movie. Why is Angelica Houston one of the best Morticias, not Morticia, in this film?
Angelica Houston would be a much better voice of Morticia than actual Morticia.
That's what I'm saying. You know, I don't know. I think it would have been cool. Charlize Theron was the weak link. The Bette Midler as the grandma was pretty awesome.
Friggin' Martin Short and help me here. The mom in Schitt's Creek. She was in Beetlejuice. She's the mom in Home Alone.
she's she's a famous comedian. What are we talking about? Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Why can't I remember her name?
I don't know, but it's because
The point is, she was in Beetlejuice and she does a voice in this movie. And there was someone else like a
Catherine O'Hara. That's
yeah,
it. Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah,
So
she was Grandma Front.
That was fun. There was also like them incorporating like the hip hop version of the Addams Family song.
And the score from the very first Addams Family film, the do 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 do. That was in the score for this one as
And
well.
at the very end, where you got the original TV show opening with all of the CG characters, was fun.
Oh yeah, they redid the original. I thought that was also pretty cool with the words that go across and
Right, but it was like the exact
shot for shot
opening.
them
Yeah,
sitting in the chairs.
Yeah, so there were parts like that were fan service that were fun, but the story of the movie was severely lacking. Also, they had friggin' Lemony Snicket or whatever as one of the Addams Family. Do you see that? Like
No.
the series of unfortunate events guy. Basically, he had the same hair. And
Oh
Yeah,
I saw. It was neat to see a lot of those Addamses kind of come to life in little tertiary characters. But I thought it was fun. I thought it was an interesting take. So there you go. That's what we think about it. Those are our thoughts. We obviously have a lot of them. Some good, some bad. I don't think that if you're It's a kids movie. It's a CGI animated kids movie. It's not that dark. It's just
no, it's not.
I would rather see this than half the crap that I saw in the trailers that was out there coming out with like Arctic dogs and more animals doing people things.
Yeah,
part 7.
The trailers on that movie really really bad, but it's a good story about being who you are and being yourself and being true to that and not spying on people through their windows.
And that's what a lot of the Addams Family message is about. It's like being unique and being weird is okay, and it doesn't mean you're a bad person because you're doing something different than other people.
Yeah, but a lot of it from the original incarnations was because they were crazy rich and they could do whatever they want, so it made them super eccentric.
Yeah.
But in this one, they didn't get into any of that.
No. All right, well, that is Addams Family. Let's talk to you about what came out this last weekend and what made money, because it's time for the box office roundup. We're going to do the box office roundup, top 10 movies in America from number 10 to number 1, October 11th through 13th, 2019. That's the weekend we're going to cover, and then we are going to wrap this puppy up and maybe go see some movies later this weekend. So here we go, number 10. Coming in the number 10 spot, Ad Astra from Fox, bringing in $1.8 million in its 4th weekend in release, only bringing in a total of $46.9 million in its domestic run, which is not very good for a movie like that. I think they were expecting a lot more.
Yeah, but what was the budget on that movie?
I don't think it was more than 50 or 60. I mean, space movies do tend to have high budgets just because of the amount of wire works and anti-gravity effects that they have to pull off.
Sure, but a lot of it was like a one-man show and
And it was Brad Pitt's production company, so I don't think he took a humongous salary for being in this one.
And you can see our review on that one where we slightly disagreed on that one too.
Yep, that was not last week, but 2 weeks ago, I think. 3 weeks ago?
Yeah, 2 or 3.
Yeah, it's back
2.
there. You could just check it out in the archives. Number 9, Jexy from Lionsgate, bringing in $3.1 million in its opening weekend. Number 8, It Chapter 2, still out there because of October. 6 weeks in release, bringing in $3.1 million, bringing its domestic gross up to $207 million domestically. Number 7, Judy, bringing in $3.2 million. A lot of $3 million grosses this week. In its third week in release, bringing it up to $14.9 million. Number 6, Hustlers from STX. I thought you were gonna go watch Hustlers, dude.
Oh man,
five weeks out there has brought in $3.8 million in its fifth week. $20 million budget brought in $98 million at the box office. Nice. Number 5, Downton Abbey, out there still in its fourth week in release from Focus Pictures, bringing in $4.8 million, bringing in a total domestic gross of $82.6. Number 4, Abominable from Universal, bringing in $6 million at the box office in its third week in release. $75 million budget brought it in so far. $47 million at the box office. Number 3, opening at number 3. We kind of predicted this one, but Gemini Man from Paramount. Will Smith, dude. Like, oh, man.
But did you see he's in a new movie where he gets morphed into a pigeon?
That movie looks terrible.
It did.
What's it called? Like Spy Flies or Fly Like a Spy?
Spies in Disguise.
Spies in Disguise. I despise the Spies in Disguise. That's going to be the theme of that. That's going to be our review. I despise Spies in Disguise. The review.
$138 million budget.
Yeah, $138 million budget for Gemini Man, bringing in $20.5 million in its opening week. Oh, jeez. I think everybody realized this was not going to go very well for Ang Lee, but yeah, there you go. But number 2 movie in America, opening up at the number 2 spot, is The Addams Family, which we just talked about. It brought in $30.3 million at the box office. I don't have budget numbers on that.
I looked it up earlier. It was like 40 is what I'd read on that one.
Oh, so that's not bad then. That's not bad at all.
Yep, doesn't have far to go.
And then the number 1 movie in America, again, which we reviewed last week. So if you want to check out our review, you can rewind back to last week, is Joker from Warner Brothers, bringing in another $55.8 million. That is a big old take.
That's enough to cover its budget just on this weekend.
Yeah, it had a $55 million budget. I mean, look at this. Look at this right here. This is something that I think studios are going to really notice, because your average Marvel MCU movie budget is going to be $150 to $200 million. The Avengers movies the Avengers films going into the 300s to make these numbers. But this movie, with a fraction of the budget, coming in and bringing in $193 million in 2 weeks domestically. You go over to the foreign market where it's made another $354 million. It is over the $500 million mark. It is $548 million in 2 weekends off of a $55 million budget. That is an incredible ROI. And I think DC is going, like, the producers and studios, and even I think the MCU is going to take a hard look and go, shit, we can get these almost billion numbers and spend a fourth of what we have been spending. It's going to be like the whole Deadpool and Guardians of the Galaxy effect all over again, where it's like we can do a rated R, we can do it a little bit weird and slapsticky and put a little less effort into it than we think we would, or spend a little more money, less money, and then we're going to get a lot more return. And I think it's going to affect things probably for a negative.
You know what, though?
I'm probably going to get a sequel to this movie.
Yeah. Batman movies, though, like this one, kind of, you don't have to have a crazy budget if you did Batman the way that Batman should probably really be done, instead of trying to make it all flash and flare and big fights and stuff. Batman's a detective. That's why it's called DC Detective Comics. It's all about Batman. Have him skulk in shadows. Have him do some actual detective work. Thumb through some files. Run from the night guard with the flashlight.
Take down a mob boss.
Well,
doesn't have
no, don't do those.
superpowers.
Those are always dumb. And
Those
I
are
hate 'em.
always my favorite episodes of the animated series, where it's like Rupert Thorne is like up to no good, and then there's like some stuff at the docks that he's smuggling in, and then Batman, because it's like the stuff at the docks that he's smuggling in, it might have been for the Penguin, we don't know, who cares? But it's these little side plots, because that's what Gotham. The dark underbelly of Gotham is those guys, not the crown prince of crime. That's just this guy that killed some people and robbed a bank. He's not doing it every weekend, but these mob bosses are. And that's the stuff I liked. That was me. That was what I liked. No, it's not you, but it's it's my time down here. I mean, those are the kind of guys that killed Batman's parents to start with.
You
It
don't
wasn't
know
Clayface coming in going, I'm going to
What,
clay you to death, Thomas Wayne.
No, what was the name of the guy that killed Batman's parents? Joe. It's like Joe Smooth, Joe Ice.
Yeah, and he wasn't Mr. Freeze. He didn't have a frost gun. He goes, I like Bruce Wayne's parents. Everybody chill. It was none of that. I like the
No, but you know what? You could do a sick Mr. Freeze like movie if you follow like some of the stories from the animated show where he's just real calm and he talks to Batman, and it's not all about being in a super suit, and you kind of get to see the just extreme human side of Victor Freeze trying to save his wife and being a scientist, and then he only puts on the suit when he has to.
That was Arnold. That was the whole story.
No, the Arnold one was like, I have a glow stick in my mouth.
It was,
Chill.
I need to save my wife. I'm going to put on the glow stick suit and chill everyone.
Yeah. No, but there's a really good episode of of Batman animated series where they're on like a oil rig or something.
Dude, the animated series Victor Freeze voice is so good.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying.
Well, here's, one of my favorite Batman films is Mask of the Phantasm, and it's not a big, crazy, over-the-top. It deals with
Lots of smoke bombs.
Lots of smoke bombs and going back and paying back mob bosses for their shady doings.
And a scythe hand.
Your time has come. Yeah, dude. Mask of the Phantasm. Good-ass movie. And a really good cameo from the Joker.
Don't put Joker in everything.
Yeah, but
knock it off.
That was, but he was not the lead villain of that movie. That's what made it kind of cool. Is he was just a cameo. It's like, oh yeah, it's me, it's Joker, and I'm here, and yeah. I don't know. Mask of the Phantasm is the best Batman movie.
Oh, whoa, hey, ho,
ho.
Slow that roll, guy. Have you ever seen Return of the Joker? Batman Beyond.
I'm talking about theatrical releases. I saw Phantasm in the theater.
Yeah, that was straight to DVD, I think.
Yeah. I'm talking in the movie theater. I saw Mask of the Phantasm in the movie theater. That one counts. One counts. Anyway, yeah, there's been a lot of direct to streaming and to DVD Batman that's really, really good. That's very well done. But anyway, all right. Well, we're going to get out of here. That's our show. Thanks for tuning in. Like and subscribe. Share this video. YouTube.com/theDrive-In-Speakerbox. Facebook.com/theDrive-In-Speakerbox. Find us wherever you find podcasts and tell your friends. As always, I'm the Boom Operator.
I'm the Grip.
And we'll see you next week.